What's going on, everyone? I am back. Nick Gambano here, Stefan Martinez with you. A lot to discuss. What's going on, first of all? How have you been? I missed you. I've been off the past couple of shows, but I'm back.
I'm good, man.
Well, I should correct that. We didn't have a show last Thursday, and then thank you to Rick the Razor of Bluntly Stated. Great show. You should definitely check that out.
Right.
Want to give that plug for him there.
Right.
You did a great job.
Right.
You guys both did. But thank you, Rick, for filling in. I appreciate it. And we'll jump right into it. First off, and this just came to me, I think we should open with this, where a year ago today was really when, at least in the United States anyway, where everything pretty much shut down, sports shut down. If you remember when Rudy Gobert tested positive, the NBA was really the first league in North America to shut their doors. And I mean, what do you remember about that time? Because to me, when I heard that, like all sports are going to be postponed. I mean, we didn't know for how long, but it was like, wow, okay, this is like.
Well, if you remember at that point in time, I was on the phone with. Thank you for checking us out, Ange.
Thank you, Ange.
I mean, I remember I was on the phone with league executives from all across these leagues and updating my Facebook statuses, and this is gonna get canceled. And I remember the first thing I said to you was, these leagues are all gonna shut down together. This is all gonna happen soon. And within a matter of minutes, because I remember I had class that day, I came in and I sat on the laptop and I was like, okay, stuff's going down, because the phone was going off and people are, calling and texting and finding out what's up, James.
What's up, James?
What I knew and how I was able to, what information I had and things like that. And right as, I started to get a sense of where we were, I get a call from somebody in the NBA league office. Listen, Adam wants to shut this thing down tonight. And that's exactly what he did. Right after Rudy Gobert did what he did, touched all the microphones and went out there and they tried to play a game, it was over. And, it's a crazy feeling. It's a surreal feeling, to be honest with you, to know like this is where we came from. And we're still kind of in this, not the same boat, because we're getting better little by little, but we still got a long way to go. I'm happy that sports is back, though, that we get to discuss it, that we get to talk about it, that we get to, engage. But I was stunned in the moment. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and then those 4 months we were watching reruns. Like I was watching Old Islander playoff games, Stanley Cup final games, old Jet games, and soccer games. You were watching your old Yankees and Knicks. Yeah, I could see that look in your eye. Like, why can't the Knicks be that good now?
Listen, man, you want to laugh? The other day, Mike comes in. This was yesterday. Shout out to my brother Mike. I'm watching a Larry Johnson 4-point play game, and I'm looking at the Garden, and I'm going, first of all, oh my God, I can't wait till the building's that full again. And then I'm thinking, can you take me back? Can I go on a time travel? Can I go back 20 years? Can I go back to a place where the Knicks were actually not laughable? When you came into MSG, you actually was afraid to come into MSG. Can we go back? Can you teleport me back? But yeah, this was a rough time, but we made it through. And look, we're on the precipice, quite frankly, of getting back to normal.
Yep.
Hopefully, by the time we reach that point, we'll be ready to, lock and load, and me and you be going to games, and we'll be documenting videos for the show, and we'll be posting on the show pages. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait.
Absolutely. And let's get right into it. We'll start off with hockey. Big news yesterday. ESPN and the NHL have reached a 7-year deal. So ESPN is bringing back hockey. I'm so excited and just pumped. This is huge for the sport to get that recognition it so deserves. I mean, ever since me and this guy met, and we've been doing shows for 6 years now, if you count, us doing WKRB, and now with the Nick and Steph show, I've been very adamant of promoting hockey, talking hockey, getting the word out. Like, this is a great sport. It should be talked about and respected more. It deserves it. And this will definitely help for sure. Mm-hmm. So some details too. Andrew Marchand, actually a reporter you well know, he reported on this. ESPN and NHL details. So ABC, ESPN will have for the next 7 Stanley Cup finals. ABC, ESPN will have 1 conference final each year, 25 regular season games on ABC or ESPN. ESPN Plus will stream more than 1,100 games. ESPN Plus and Hulu will exclusively stream 75 national games. So between the streaming platforms plus what you get on cable TV.
Wow.
Yeah. Very exciting.
I like that.
No, Kayla, I wish the Premier League was back to on ESPN. Should be, actually.
Well, to be quite honest, I like that, ABC's getting a part of this package.
Me too.
For the next 7 Stanley Cup finals are going to be on the ESPN and ABC family and networks. I like that. If you really want to make this thing complete, can we get Gary Thorne back as the lead announcer? If we can't have Doc Emrick, which he already said, I'm done, I'm not coming back.
Doc did work for ABC back in the day in ESPN.
Yeah, but he
ain't coming back on
staunch in the retirement. But if you can get Gary Thorne back, then you really start to bring the nostalgia back, and you really start.
Him and Bill Clement, who were a partnership, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and Gary Thorne, remember, as I reported earlier in a couple months ago on the show, Gary Thorne is no longer working for the Orioles. He does not have a job in baseball, so this could be the perfect opportunity for him to get back and do hockey full time if that's what he chooses to do.
That would be awesome. And even you said Don LaGreca, which is in consideration, which he should be. He already works for ESPN. Mm-hmm. I hate the Rangers, but the few times I've heard him call games on the radio for the Rangers, he does a really great job.
Yeah,
of play-by-play, very enthusiastic.
He also makes you feel like you're at the games. Like he tells you.
Yeah. You can tell his passion for the sport in general. He doesn't play favorites. He's very down the middle.
Right.
So, yeah.
But that's somebody who's a hockey enthusiast, though. The guy, he stays up watching hockey games, West Coast hockey games.
He does, yep.
And so
I was doing that last night.
He may work in a local market like New York, but he doesn't exclude himself from watching everyone around the league, getting a sense of what everybody else is doing as well.
Right.
Yeah,
definitely. But it's great for the sport to find, because every sport, mainly is broadcasted on ESPN. Football, basketball, baseball, Major League Soccer. As Caleb pointed out, Premier League used to a few years ago. That's really when I started to get into soccer. Mm-hmm. Like the Premier League was on there, the Champions League, the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they bring more soccer back than just and they're starting to. You can tell, like on ESPN Plus, the Bundesliga is coming back or is already back. Serie A, the Italian league. Right. I heard there's rumors the Spanish league in Spain might come back, La Liga, or might be on ESPN. And all the English Cup tournaments are already on ESPN Plus. So.
And the reason why they're doing all this is, like you said, ESPN Plus is trying to build its subscriber base.
And Hulu as well.
Right. And here's the thing. Because Disney Plus, when Disney Plus launched, like out of the rip, their first year they had 87 million subscribers.
Right, and then more due to the pandemic.
Right, and ESPN Plus only had 11 million or 12 million. So ESPN is trying to up its content and give people more,
Correct,
and get the viewership to go up, so they're able to not compete with Disney Plus, because I don't think you're going to compete with Disney, but to put their foothold in the digital media market, which is why they're doing what they're doing.
and they have that bundle, which I have. It's great. Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. So
Right.
to have all three.
Right.
But yeah, I'm really intrigued by that, though. Who they're gonna bring back for, or who they're gonna hire for commentary and color
Right.
analysis. Steve Levy, I'm sure, is already still at ESPN, but he's definitely doing hockey. I'm sure of it when he's not doing Monday Night Football during the football season. He's a huge hockey guy.
Right.
So,
And he's good at it.
oh, he's awesome. Yeah, actually a Long Island guy. Grew up not too far from the Coliseum. So,
Oh.
other news, Daryl Sutter is now the head coach of the Flames. Actually grew up in Alberta, Canada, although closer to Edmonton and not Calgary. The town's name is Viking, Alberta. That's a pretty cool name to grow up in.
That.
Viking,
I grew up in Viking. Awesome.
right?
Just knowing that fact alone, I want to run through. I would literally run through a wall for that dude.
Yeah, he's that type of coach too. He's won 2 Stanley Cups with the Kings. He has 7 other siblings. 6 of them played in the NHL. Brent Sutter, one of his brothers, won 4 cups with the Isles. Just, had to throw that tidbit in there.
Of course, it wouldn't be a show if we didn't get an Isles championship reference.
I'm just saying. Also, Daryl Sutter has worked with Calgary before. Back in the early 2000s, he was their head coach and GM and actually took them to the Cup final in 2004 against Tampa Bay and lost. That was when Torts was the Tampa coach years ago. And Jerome McGinley was on Calgary.
Say you took me back just
Jimmy
now.
LeCavalier was on Tampa Bay.
Jerome McGinley and Vinny LeCavalier.
Yeah, Nikolai Habibulin was the Lightning goalie.
What a great name. What a great name.
Habibulin.
That is awesome.
That went to 7 games, that Cup final. So good luck to Daryl Sutter. And listen, who knows? Maybe the big question is, does this put a spark now in the Flames? Because they kind of been so as of late. But we'll see if this kind of rejuvenates them and
Right.
they get going.
Right. And look, I think it's good that they brought back somebody that they knew, that knows them, that knows the city. And look, Sutter is a well-respected NHL coach. He's done it for a while. You
First Hall of Famer for sure. He also played in the league too, way back when.
That helps too, because if you played in the league, then you know the grind, you know what it's going to look like. So you appreciate a guy like that who's been there, who knows what it's like to play in the league, who says, listen, I've been here before, and if you do it my way and we develop something, we're going to get better over time here. So I kind of like that Daryl Sutter's there. Listen, familiarity in these situations are always good.
Oh, yeah.
A guy that you know, first of all, he's going to do the job. Because one thing we know about Daryl Sutter as a head coach, he's a no-nonsense type of guy. He's not going to take any time.
Yep.
He's not going to let you just, compromise on your principles. He's going to want you to get, play physical, play tough, play smart, and good fundamental hockey.
Agreed. No doubt about that. Also, too, we want to mention, me and Stefan were discussing this before the show, and then we'll get into the Isles, but Gary Bettman had a press conference today.
Yes.
There was some things that he laid out today.
Right. It was written in the Athletic. It was written in the Athletic. Scott Burnside, the Athletic reporter.
Love Scotty Boss.
He
Great writer.
That the NHL wants to get back into a regular type of season, 82 games, regular alignment, no major realignment. They want to get Seattle back in the league and Seattle in the league, excuse me, and they want to move Arizona to the Central. And you asked me, how would that work? How it would work is they would move Seattle to the Central and still make sure there's 7 teams. So
you mean Arizona to the Central, right? And then I was like, oh, okay, it'll still be
right. So when I first read that, I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but
yeah, because you got to have Seattle in the Pacific.
Right.
It makes sense. So,
and just because, listen, Seattle's new, so you want to make sure and they're the furthest team out west. So
besides Vancouver, yep.
Right. So they have to be in the Central. But I like the fact that Gary says, listen, we had to do this year to play. Like, we had to make these changes. We had to make sure that we got all Canadian division because of the border situation. But he did preference this. He says, depending on what happens with the pandemic and everything going on, we could be back. We could see the border restrictions ease by June,
right
before the conference finals are set to begin. So this could be a very, very telling next 6 weeks for the NHL and what they decide to do when the time does come around.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. But the one thing I know you're not happy with is that you like this divisional play. So he says he'd like to get more divisional play in there. He doesn't see how it's feasible due to the fact that you do want to get everybody in these arenas. So a fan base does get to see a Crosby in Canada. They get to see
McDavid.
Right. Those
Matthews. Yeah.
So that's kind of why the division thing would be tough. However, you kind of do like the fact that he's at least willing to listen in regards to creating a deeper rooted rivalry within divisions. I think that's good.
Yeah.
So I think he understands that, and I think the fact that he has that in his mind is good for the league. It's good for the league, and it's good for the future of the league because it means business.
Yeah.
When you get more rivalries and you get more fans invested and you get, things are able to, get back to normal with fans in the building, which is another thing he touched too. Hopefully we can't let our guard down yet, but we're getting close. And I think adding another layer where you get more divisional games when fans do get back in the building, that would definitely help grow the sport much more than it already is.
Absolutely. And with being on ESPN, that's only going to help more.
Right.
So, yeah, I love the divisional play, but I understood that it wasn't going to last forever.
Right.
It would be cool, but, eventually you do have to play teams outside your division every now and then. And, so I understand his point. Of course, a lot of people wanted the North Division to stay. Mainly Maple Leaf fans because they're just tearing it up.
Murdering everybody, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see next year when they're back with the Bruins how good they will actually be.
Right.
Not that they're not good now. I'm giving them credit, but
yeah.
But you're kind of like me. You're like, you might get lucky this year and make it to the conference final.
JV. You don't got to deal with Boston. You don't got to deal with Washington. You don't got to deal with. You're not playing anybody. That's no disrespect for the teams in Canada. But
I agree.
I'm just saying,
I agree. How about those New York Islanders, huh? 8-1-1 in our last 10 games, which is amazing. Those only 2 losses came to Pittsburgh.
And those were tight games too.
6 straight wins, 13-2-2 record in last 17 games.
Right.
11-0-2 at home this season. 4-0-0 versus the Boston Bruins.
Well,
allowing only 5 goals, Stefan. 5. That's it they've allowed against Boston this year. I mean, that's remarkable. It's remarkable. It's fun to watch. This team is on a roll right now.
Sounds like it. And listen, this is what Barry Trotz does. He gets the team to kind of mold and play his style of play. So I understand it. And I like the fact that Barzal is taking the next step. You see him starting to be more of the leader. Now, I don't mean the leader in terms of scoring. I mean the leader in terms of making the players around him better, being better defensively. Does he still handle the puck a little bit too much? Yeah, but I guess that'll come with maturity. That'll come with time. And look, the guy's a playmaker. That's what he does. He makes plays, and he does it sometimes in filthy ways, like we saw with that goal. First of all, there's an APB out for the goalie. They can't find him. They don't know where he's at.
That might have been the best goal I've ever seen so far in my life. That tops it.
They don't know where the goalie is. There's an APB out there looking for him, and the defender that fell, he's like, yo, fam, I'ma just fall here in the corner. I'm not even gonna try and fight it. And that was a sick goal. I gotta be honest, that was a sick goal. Kayla with an interesting comment here. That's not good.
That's definitely not good. They got a big game tonight against the Capitals. Got to win that one if you're Philadelphia. Yeah, and then losing to Pittsburgh last week twice, I think, right, Kayla? That really had to. Oh man, I feel for you.
Don't start her, please.
No, I'm just that stinks. I'm saying it's.
Don't start her, please, because then.
But 3 things for me. Great goaltending by both goalies. When Sorokin had to come in, he's been big. That game against Pittsburgh was unbelievable. Volley is just outstanding. You got all 4 lines rolling, and you're getting scoring production from everybody, not just Barzal or not just Beauvillier, which that shootout goal was sick the other night. Kind of like a Franz Nielsen flashback there with the quick fake and then, top shelf goal backhanded. But yeah, Nelson's been scoring. Even the 4th line, Clutterbuck has scored a couple. Martin scored 2. Almost had a Hattie in one of the games. Sazik's has scored. So defense is playing amazing. And the young guys, man, Wallstrom's been out of this world, scoring, assisting. Noah Dobson, I think it's been big for him to be with Andy Green, a veteran who's been in the league a long, long time, has a lot of experience with Lou when he was with the Devils. He played in some playoffs, went to a Stanley Cup final with them. He's up close to 40, so for a young guy like Dobson, that's big. What were you going to say?
No, and I think that negates the Islanders having to necessitate making a huge trade, because if they have all these guys playing well, because there was an article in The Athletic, the Islanders trade deadline plans, your trade deadline just got a lot easier if all these guys are playing like this.
Yeah, but part of me wouldn't want to get rid of any of these guys. I would keep rolling with this team you got. Unless if there's a solid deal that Lou can make and he feels, is good.
Well, define solid if you don't mind me.
I mean, I don't know. If you don't have to trade if it's a guy who really hasn't been playing much but has shown, I don't know,
you and what we like to term it, he wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. So he only wants to trade if it suits him. Trades have to hurt. That's why they're trades. They're not I'm not just gonna trade you something
I
because
mean, the one guy I really want to trade is Bailey, but that ain't happening.
yeah, but then, like you said, you want your cake and eat it too. You want to trade him to clear cap space, but nobody's gonna take that money off your hands. See, we know you. See, Big Dog, he's very cherry picked. I'd like to trade certain guys, but I don't like to trade certain guys because
like right now, I wouldn't. I mean, yes, their value is high, but I wouldn't trade Dobson or Wallstrom. Not with the chemistry we have.
I would, depending on what the move is. If, let's say, for example, right?
Maybe I'll entertain it, but
let's say, for example, and I'm just speaking hypothetically, if the Blackhawks call you and say Patrick Kane's on the table, well, we want Nystrom, we want Wallstrom, and we want Bellows.
The only thing with Bellows, he hasn't been playing, but that's one guy I might consider because I feel in the games he played early on, he was good, but then he kind of fell off a little bit, so he's been back.
Maybe, yeah, Bellows and maybe Wallstrom and Bellows. If they call you and they say, here's Patrick Kane, you doing that?
Might think about it, but
because
I just love this team we have. I don't want to mess that up.
You see, nah.
And I love these guys too much. I can't.
I hear you, but if it's me, for example, I use this as an example, all right, to let you know how crazy I am. If somebody says to me, listen, I'll trade Julius Randle, right? Julius Randle. We want Julius Randle. We'll give you a mid-first round pick. Bye, Julius. I'm packing your bags. Goodbye.
Yeah, but you don't got to connect to anybody. You're willing to throw anybody out of there for something.
But if I'm being honest, okay, sure. If I'm being honest, you guys are good. You guys are you have a very good team. But my issue is, do I see you guys getting to the next level and winning a cup with this club? I don't. That's just me personally. I don't watch enough hockey to comment one way or the other. But when I look at the team, I'm like, you got nice players. Barzal's going to be a great player. Wallstrom is playing out of his mind. You got the two goalie tandem. You got Pajot. You got all these guys. And I'm like, there's a solid team here. It's solid. It's not bad. But is it enough to make me go, they're going to win a cup? The cup doesn't jump out to me. Where if you get another established star who says, listen, we trade for this guy, he brings us to the championship. As much as you love your club, you got to seriously entertain it. Like, I love Julius Randle, and it would hurt me to trade Julius Randle because I hear you, but I don't think necessarily for me, when I watch them play, they're a good team, but they don't scare me because I don't think Anders Lee's consistent enough. Barely
he has been lately, though. He's been on fire.
Yeah. All right. I'm not gonna argue with you, but to me, it feels like they have a good upside. They can be special. I just don't know if they're good enough to win the championship.
I think we are, and that's just not me being an Islander fan, but if you watch them, they and when they're consistent and they're on their game, nobody can beat them. Nobody. You could throw me any team you want, not beating them.
Spoken like a true fan.
I'm just speaking fact.
I ain't mad at it. I'm
good. Last piece of hockey news, and then we'll move on. Tom Wilson, again, this is really no surprise, suspended for 7 games for boarding Boston's Brandon Carlo. So he's going to miss games against New Jersey, 2 games against your Flyers, Kayla, game against Buffalo, game against the Islanders, and 2 games against the Rangers. look, this guy, he should really be suspended longer than 7. And yeah, they fined him the maximum, but come on. How many times has this guy done this? How many times? I mean, and it was deliberate. Like Carlo didn't even have the puck. He just got rid of it. And you saw Wilson deliberately lift his arm or his elbow up right into the head of Brandon Carlo. It was not a clean hockey play at all. At all. I mean, this guy has a history of it. I think 7 wasn't enough, but you saw the hit, Stefan, but it was clearly deliberate.
I did. You sent me the video. I did.
Yes, that's right.
Just the fact that he's an habitual offender, that right there shows you, bro, you need to get more than 7 games because that's craziness. If I'm me, he's suspended for a whole month because basically you're endangering the people that you're on the ice with. Now it's not even about hockey. Now you're just trying to be a goon and hurt people, which we can't have. It's bad enough we know what we know now about head injuries and concussions and CTE and how
Peter Laviolette said nothing about it. And look, I know you're his coach, but come on, you know, like Laviolette's been in the league a long time.
Right.
I mean, you got to say like something like this is unacceptable or, you know, just something to kind of recognize it like it's a problem, but he didn't. Right. So,
and look, and is that a problem on Peter Laviolette's fault? Yeah, because I think at some point you have to look out for the betterment of the sport, not just the fact that that guy's on your team. That can't be the excuse as to why you excuse the type of behavior that he's been exhibiting for a long time now.
Right.
That just shows that you don't appreciate how serious of a matter this is, regardless whether he's your player or not. Because that's craziness.
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
And look, when you start to talk about a guy who doesn't have any recourse and doesn't have any excuses, that's this guy. He's done this for way too long now, and you can't give him an out and say, oh, it's a 1-time, 2-time, 3-time thing. No, this is habitual. He's done this for a very long time, so I think it's time that we recognize it for what it is and punish him appropriately.
Absolutely. But that's my hockey news. I'm going to actually have a lot of soccer stuff, but we'll get to that in a bit. I know you had some baseball stuff that seemed pretty interesting.
Well, Jason Stark came out with an article in The Athletic today detailing how baseball is trying to do things to make the game a little bit more action-packed, and one of the things that he talked about was getting rid of the shift. Now, what they would do at the AA level is you can't play on the outfield grass anymore. You have to be on the border of the infield, meaning the lip of the grass where both your feet are in the dirt on the infield. All 4 infielders can no longer go to the outfield. Now, this is what they call an experimental thing where they're going to do it. They're going to experiment with it because they want to stop shifts. You know, lefty guys are hitting rockets to right field, and there's the third baseman in short right field to make a play. So that they want to kind of negate that. Also, they want to make the bases bigger like they do in the Atlantic League, which is a Cape Cod wooden bat league, and it's kind of like another.
Only you would know that. Keep going.
It's kind of like another. It's a step before the minor leagues, so they're expanding with it, and it's also in the Atlantic. They're expanding with it where the bases are 18 inches by 18 feet. So it's a bigger base, it's wider, and the reason why they're going to do this is because they want to avoid collisions. And you want to be able to steal more bases, and they want to be able to make the game faster too. And the other thing that I found interesting with all this is, look, baseball definitely needs to make the game a little bit more appealing to the younger generation, and you have to do something to the effect of maybe this, maybe you allow more bunting plays. Maybe you put more plays on where the game is interesting, because now that it's home runs and strikeouts, the game's hard for me to watch, and I love the game. And it's going to get even harder because baseball, they've changed the baseball. The seams on the baseball are now higher, which means you can break your change up. Your breaking ball is going to be more effective. So if you throw any type of all-speed pitch with any type of regularity, you're going to be even tougher to hit this year. And the strikeout numbers are only going to continue to climb unless these guys say, listen, you know what, enough with the all or nothing approach. Let's try to smoke the ball the other way, which is goes to the point of eliminating shifts. And look, I think the fact that there were so many home runs and the game did go through this place of, damn, it's like, how many home runs can you hit? You know what I'm saying? Before it becomes all or nothing sport. And that's basically where baseball is right now. So you applaud them for trying all these different things, and you applaud them for understanding where they are as a sport and as an industry. But you need more stuff like this to get, the casual fan to come back. Now, I know they were doing something in spring training, which I know you love, which is the rollover inning, which they're going to experiment with.
They should do that in the regular season.
In other leagues to see if it works. Oh, here we go.
Listen, that's going to be a show one day where we do our rule changes for all sports and just see what happens.
Listen, I understand the sport of baseball needs to, get into this millennium. I get it, but some of your rule stuff is drastic. But that's for another show.
Yeah.
Look,
you want to see fly it up?
I got to be honest. I don't necessarily love the idea of shifts. I think it hurts the game. I think you have to get back to playing regular defense. And if a guy beats you with a single up the middle, he was just better than the pitcher. Because I think it gives a pitcher the out, too. It's like, I'm going to hang a heater because I know the second baseman's sitting in right field. If the guy hits a rock, he's going to get it. Not that you're intentionally trying to throw a pitch that doesn't go over the plate, but I think it does give the pitchers more at ease.
Right.
So, yes, it is. Yes. And that's another thing. They want to eliminate the three-batter rule, which a lot of managers don't like, but I think they're going to keep it in place because it doesn't allow for like 90 pitching changes a game. Now, I'm being facetious when I say 90, but you get my point.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I want to see how these rule changes play out. The one thing I'm not surprised with, I would see where you would hate it as a purist of the sport. If I got a lefty I'm trying to get out, I'm trying to get the situational lefty in there to get him out. So I guess this is where the three-batter minimum rule eliminates that completely, which is such crap. It's crap. But look, I have no issues where people like Big Dog say the game's too long and it needs to be shortened up. This is true. But if you allow the game to be more compelling to the casual viewer, where they get more base hits, where you get more men on base, where the strikeout isn't as prevalent as it is now, I think that'll help the game too, because the more action-packed the game is, the better. Quick bit of injury news real quick. Zach Britton's going to be down 3 to 4 months. Had a bone chip in his elbow. Had surgery to remove it. Won't be back until probably late July. Yeah. The Mets have started contract negotiations with Lindor this past week. Hopefully we'll know where that goes. And while I'm here, I got 3 dark horses to make the playoffs. Would you like to hear them?
Sure.
2 of these are going to shock you. 2 of these are going to be. I think the Boston Red Sox get a wild card spot this year.
Interesting.
Okay. I think Milwaukee wins the NL Central. I think Milwaukee wins the Central because they got 4 pitches in the top 25 of spin and usage rate. Josh Hader, Brandon Woodruff, the other reliever, Trevor Williams, and who is the other starter? Why am I going blank? It'll come back to me. Anyway, Milwaukee's lineup's not bad. Colton Wong's playing second for them this year. I think Christian Yelich is going to have a bounce back year. I think Milwaukee's going to they're going to surprise some people in Central. And the last one, drum roll, please. The last one is, I think, and I know this sounds crazy because he just got there. So you're thinking they'll do that already? I got a funny feeling that depending on where this team sits, San Diego may be open for trade business at the trade deadline, where you see 2 of the acquisitions they acquired going out in a trade to acquire something else.
Interesting.
Because I'm going to say this, and I know this sounds crazy, but I don't think the San Diego I have them going to the World Series. But right now, I think they don't have enough bench depth to be able to sustain itself. So I think they're going to take a couple pieces that they have down there, the minor league system, and get themselves another impact bat somewhere down the line. So those are my 3 key predictions, or those are my 3 crazy thoughts. But I think Milwaukee winning the Central is kind of nutty. I will admit it. But I think when you start to, look at where, the Cardinals are top heavy. They're a very top heavy club. Nolan Arenado, Yachty, Adam Wainwright, and they're kind of old. So it's kind of like, I can see where Milwaukee, Josh Hader and all these guys, like, they're going to be a fun team to watch this shit. And I think Christian Yelich gets back to MVP form. And I got something else real quick before we get on out of here. Everybody's connecting Chris Bryant to the New York Mets. Everybody and his mother. But I got a surprise for you.
Okay.
I think Matt Chapman, the third baseman of the Oakland A's, signs with the Mets, and that's your third baseman next year. Matt Chapman, Francisco Lindor, that's a hell of a left side of the infield. That may be better than the Bryant Lindor side of the infield because Matt Chapman's a couple years younger and does a little bit more for you at this stage than Chris Bryant does. So if I'm the Mets, Matt Chapman's the guy I go after in the winter. I want to hear what soccer you got because I got some NBA stuff too, but let's get to your soccer because I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I got a few things if you don't mind. I haven't talked soccer in a bit, but a lot happened this week. First thing, Germany head coach Joachim Löw, that's how you pronounce it, will be stepping down as manager after this year's European Championships. He has been the Germany national team head coach. He was appointed in 2006.
Wow.
He was actually a assistant coach to Jurgen Klinsmann. We both know because he used to coach the U.S. men's national team.
Right.
And then he, came after Jurgen and did amazing. He won the World Cup in 2014, won the 2017 Confederations Cup. And just to briefly describe that one, it's a team of 8. It's the team who wins the World Cup. All the continents, so like the Euro Cup, the Gold Cup, and so on. They were the runners-up in 2008, the Euro Cup. They lost to Spain. So go tournament by tournament. They made the final in 2008 and lost, as I mentioned. They made the semifinals of the World Cup and lost. The semifinals of the Euro Cup and lost. Then they won in 2014, the World Cup. Yeah. And then 2016 semifinals of the European Championships, and then they got eliminated in the group stage, which was like, I mean, that just doesn't happen to Germany. The last time that happened was, I think, the 1930s. They said they didn't make it out of the first round. So,
wow, what?
Yeah, the media in Germany were like the newspapers the next day, and the German fan. I mean, I'm a supporter of the team. You know, USA is my number one, but of course, but I'm a big Germany fan too, and
the fan base was like,
I was shocked. I was really shocked.
The fan base was giving them the "you gotta go" thumb.
They lost to Mexico. They beat Sweden by the skin of their teeth late in injury time, and then they lost to South Korea, and they didn't.
Can I ask you a very, very interesting question?
Yeah, go for it.
Because it seems to me, have they been together long, this team, or has it just been different players that have come in and out?
So for the longest time, since 06, pretty much, they've had a steady group of players. It wasn't until like 16, really the World Cup was when you didn't have your Schweinsteigers and no Podolski anymore, Miroslav Klose, Philip Lahm, like all your star players from that World Cup winning team.
Right.
And the previous tournaments where you made it super far, they didn't have. So it was a mix of some veterans like Tony Kroos, but then you Manuel Neuer, their goalkeeper, who's one of the best in the world. But then you also had a lot of young dudes. And then also there was some.
So you had a mix of veterans and younger guys.
Right. And there was also some locker room issues that had to do with, we're not going to really, had to do with race and who's really German and who's really not. Because
go through something like that with the United States a couple years ago.
Yeah,
you kind of got to be from the States in order to play. They didn't want half citizens, like they wanted full-blooded Americans, and
essentially, yeah.
I remember reading something like that.
I think here with German, like they're German blood, but they might be half like of something else, whatever it might be.
That's stupid too, because if you're German, you're technically playing.
Or their parents were from somewhere else, but they were born and raised in Germany. But
that's.
And there was like a divide. Taylor Twellman was talking about it on ESPN at the time.
Right.
When the locker room was divided of like the jerk, just it was a mess.
To me, that kind of that speaks to a lack of that's really being naive when you think about it.
Definitely.
And you don't really get the sense that, these teams understand how important this is. Listen, if you're German, you can help us win a game, or you can help us, get better as a club, then it doesn't matter if
you have a little bit of German or American. Who cares? You can help me win. You come in. We'll come in our team. So
I think we put too much stock into that kind of stuff. Well, he's only partly German, so what? That's like saying Marcus Stroman, who pitched in the WBC a couple years back. Well, he's only half American because his mother was Puerto Rican, so he really shouldn't be pitching for either team. Huh?
You know what?
Huh?
Come on now.
Or Nolan. Well, he's really Puerto Rican, but he was born in the States, so he really shouldn't be playing for the Puerto Rican or the United States teams because you shouldn't choose. What?
Listen, it's up to the player. It's who they feel more identified with. Like I'm okay with that. So
I know you are, but obviously there's tons of people in the world that aren't.
And as long as you may not even be any you don't even have to be of that certain nationality. Also, too, in soccer, like if you have a passport for a certain country and you live there, you can play for them. You don't even have to be, born and raised in wherever that might be. So,
It just seems nonsensical to me. That's that. And
I agree.
Pardon me if that comes across as me being, oh, but you don't understand how serious it is over here. Maybe I don't, but it seems dopey.
It is. It's wrong. It's a wrong way to think. It's like you said, naive's a good word. Also too on his resume, most games managed 138 and wins 120 wins as German manager. Most wins by a manager 23 in major tournaments. That includes the Euros and World Cup.
Well, hot damn.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to replace this dude. There've been names thrown around. The coach for the under-21 German team, who's taken them to the Olympics this summer in Tokyo. He's a possibility.
Where do you think they go to replace him?
That's a great question. I'm not really sure. Of course, first guy that came to mind is Jurgen Klopp, but he shut it down already. Plus, he has a contract with Liverpool through 2024. So that ain't happening. Maybe in the future when he gets older. But right now he's a club manager. He's a successful club manager. And I know people are saying, well,
money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Liverpool's one of the richest clubs in the world. And despite not being successful this year, they've dealt with many injuries. I think, and I'm not giving them excuses, but I think having no fans really hurts them. The other team, it's funny, they compared, and I agreed, they compared Jurgen Klopp to almost like a maestro or the guy, or conductor. Like when the fans are he's like, come on, get, does the, waves his arms up, like, come on, get loud, get pumped or whatever, and the fans respond, like they love him in Liverpool. Like there's paintings of him on buildings and graffiti photos of him they love him.
Oh, so that guy's almost
he's like God out there.
Sounds like it.
In Liverpool. There's also Hansi Flick, who's currently the Bayern Munich coach. And actually, funny thing, he was on that 2006 staff with Jurgen Klinsmann and Jogi Löw. So that's another guy. I was like, like he has experience with the national team. Maybe when he's done with Bayern, he can go there.
He take the job?
What's that?
Does he take the job?
Possibly. I mean, he has success with Bayern Munich. But we'll see. Couple other things. Messi and Ronaldo both out of the Champions League in the round of 16. They didn't even get to the quarterfinals. Yeah, not good. Not good.
Could we be seeing a changing of the guard in soccer?
I think not just yet. I think Barcelona, though, I think Messi, I think it's your time. I think it's just time to move on. Kind of like what Brady did with New England and going to Tampa. I think just time to move on. Although Ronaldo just got to Juventus in 2018. And since he joined, they lost the round of 16. Actually, back-to-back years, they were out in the round of 16. Then the year before that, they lost in the quarterfinals. And then before Ronaldo came, quarterfinals, and then they made the final but got killed by Real Madrid 4-1. So,
what do you think this means for them? Both out in the round of 16, do you think they start looking at this team can't win it all anymore? Let's go to other places. Let's see what we can do. Because I don't think this team's good enough. The teams that we're on are good enough to win it. Or do you think they ride it out because they're making a lot of money?
I think they're making a lot of money. Ronaldo's making money. Also, too, it's a new season with a new manager who's – what I think? It's tough because the thing with hiring legends from a club or even a team like here in the States, we've seen it. they may not want to let go of Andrea Pirlo for what he's done for Juventus. Even Frank Lampard too, Chelsea legend. They eventually fired him. But yeah, it's I think at some point too, as Ronaldo gets older, I think in the next few, I think he's going to stay with Juve, but in the next couple of years or few years, he's going to be out. Messi, I think, has to go. I'm giving him the gotta go for his sake. Like, it's toxic. I mean, yeah, you're in a title race, but you won a gajillion trophies with them. Like, don't you want to try and maybe experience something else? But he's been with the club since he's 13 years old. So that's kind of hard. You know, like he's been training with their academy. He came up with their youth teams and then now the senior team. Like,
So he's built a lot of relationships there, it sounds like. And then to be able to just say, I'm going to just move away from this. So I'm going to be stripped away from
Barcelona. They lost in the round of 16, the quarterfinals, semis, quarters, and the quarters again. So they've made it far, but they haven't won a Champions League in a while. Like, and again, I go back to when I first started to get into the sport. Like, they were like the cream of the crop. Them and Man United, like, where you didn't want to mess with them.
Right.
Also, too, and then we'll end it with NBA. Gareth Bale, who's finally Jose Mourinho decided to put him in the lineup. And again, these are against two poor teams, but scoring 2 goals against 2 different teams, I think, is good for Bale's confidence. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who Tottenham went out to get on the transfer window to kind of help out. And yeah, he is on the older side, but he used to play for Tottenham, was amazing for Tottenham when he played there. I think you got to play him more, even if it is a substitution role, like with a half hour, 20 minutes left, like a super sub to come in and win it or save the game for you. Mm-hmm. I think it's only like to leave him on the bench for so many games. I did not understand it. I still don't understand Jose Mourinho's philosophies, to be honest. I mean, I've been watching soccer a long time and he's had success pretty much everywhere he's gone, but I don't know. I just think at some point, I think a managerial change is going to have to happen.
Well, it seems like to me, and I don't know if this is fair to say, but that's like very Bill Belichickian to me, where it's like I've won, I've did everything I wanted to do, and I've won it my way, so I'm going to keep doing it my way, even if you don't understand it. You're just a schmuck with you're not as smart as I am.
That word.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, hey, you're not smarter than me. I know all. I'm Jose Mourinho. I've won everywhere.
He acts like that too with the media.
Yeah, like very Bill Belichickian. So it doesn't really matter what you feel, because at the end of the day, I'm going to do it my way because I've won my way.
I remember in one rant with the media, I'm trying to think if it was when he went back to Chelsea or like, I have many trophies. I have this many trophies. How many did these guys have? None. And he walked away and like walked out of the room. Like real, I'm not going to say it on, but you know, like a real
douche.
Yeah, yep. We'll go with that word because I want to use something else, but yeah, literally. How many, like, be quiet, media. Let me do my thing and just left.
Like, you know nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh boy, crazy. And I mean, Tottenham is up for, we actually qualified today for the quarterfinals of the Europa Cup. They're in the Carabao Cup, which is like what do you call it? Like in the NCAA, like the Tostitos Bowl or the one of the minor tournaments.
Right. Okay.
Subway Bowl. I don't know. What's a minor college bowl game?
The orange. The Vista Print Bowl or the friggin'.
Yeah, like it don't matter. Yeah, it's not working this year. And they dug themselves such a deep hole. Like, we may not get top 4. Although we've been on a roll recently, but again, it's kind of too late for that. Meanwhile, Tottenham, if you remember, Stefan, beginning of the year were at top of the table or second. They were jockeying for position.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens, man. But what do you got in basketball? I know a lot going on. The Knicks are back tonight, which I know you're happy about because they're actually playing well.
Right. Well, I got some interesting trades, and you're not a huge NBA fan, but I think you'll find some of this stuff fascinating.
Okay.
Let's start with this. The Spurs just released veteran big man LaMarcus Aldridge. He was a high commodity on the free agent market when he was a free agent 5 years ago, and he still can play a little bit. He's at his lowest level of points. He's at 13.5 points a game. He's shooting about 42% from the field, 35% from three, 5.2 rebounds per game. So his numbers are down from what he was when he was an all-star.
Right.
But he's 35 years old. The San Antonio Spurs are going in a younger direction. They want to get younger, and Aldridge doesn't really help them do that. Now, they were talking about what'll be likely fits for LaMarcus Aldridge, and I started to think, I'm like, okay, where does he fit best? And the three teams that came back to me, and I said, well, if these three teams make this move, that would be kind of impressive. I think Boston would be a good fit if they can make it work, because Boston needs him. Boston needs scoring help really bad. They need some help off the bench or even in the starting lineup. I think Miami could use him after what happened with Myers Leonard and the anti-Semitic statement he made on a live stream, which I'm not sure the Heat will have him back.
They shouldn't.
He's suspended for a week, and they're gonna determine what to do next. But if the Heat decide to move on from Myers Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge could quite decently fill that spot. And the other place I'm thinking about is Portland. He started his career with the Blazers. The Blazers need some down low scoring. He'd be big for them off the bench. Him, CJ, Dame, Melo, that'll be a nice foursome if they can make it work. And, you want to see a guy like Aldridge kind of end his career with a chance to not win a championship, but be in a competitive spot. And Greg Popovich, when he spoke to the media the other day, he's like, he's done everything we've asked him to do. He hasn't been a bad teammate. He's been okay for the most part. We've had, he's an older guy, and we want to go in a younger direction. And San Antonio, I believe in this philosophy where if I don't got a chance to win a championship, I'm not even going to try and chase it. I want to chase it if I got a chance to win it, which is what I would do, because I'm like, I
hear you.
And, the other three things that I think is interesting is, look, we all know, or we think we have an idea who the champions could be in the NBA this year. But I'm going to tell you, the Anthony Davis thing for me, if you're a Laker fan, that's worrisome, because Achilles don't get better. they don't tend to get better, and he's really battling this thing, and they're not even sure when he's going to be able to come back. Now, he's supposed to be reevaluated later on in the week, but if he's not right to come back and play, then the Lakers may have to go out there and get a big man. Maybe Al Horford could be someone they target from Oklahoma City. That's one trade target that they're looking at. Aldridge is another trade target, or maybe Andre Drummond in the buyout market. But if you're the Lakers, you got to know you got teams in the West that are coming for you. I think Phoenix is no joke. Okay, I like the Suns, and I love Utah. Utah got 4 guys, big dog, in big games that these guys are all ball handling bigs. They all know what to do when the game gets down close. And look, Utah definitely could use some bench scoring. That's why if I'm Utah, I'm going all in for JJ Redick. Like, if I could get JJ Redick to go to Utah and firm up my bench a little more, I'm all for it if I'm the Jazz. And look, because I think the Jazz could give the Lakers a legitimate run for the title. I don't trust the Clippers. I don't trust them. I think they're, I look at Paul George. I don't look at him as a legitimate playoff contributor. Kawhi Leonard, we know what he is. Their bench is somewhat older. Lou Williams, Serge Ibaka is not the same player he was a couple years ago. I don't know how to necessarily feel about the Los Angeles Clippers, and they can't do anything because they traded all their picks and all their assets to acquire Kawhi Leonard and Paul George as basically essentially a combination, and that didn't really work out for them so far. It could change in the playoffs, but if you're a Clipper or a Laker fan right now, the finals may be going through Utah and not Los Angeles. Wow. Two other things. And this summer, when Brandon Ingram signed the extension with the Pelicans, I was like, the Pelicans got themselves a nice one too. Zion, Lonzo Ball, this is going to be fun. But league executives over the past couple of weeks have started to openly speculate, would the Pelicans trade Brandon Ingram? Because they don't think that a lot of people don't see him and Zion playing together. Where Brandon Ingram wants the ball. Brandon Ingram wants to be the initiator of the offense. But when you see what Zion is doing to defenses, you're like, Brandon Ingram, yo, fam, you're good, but you're not game changer. Get out my way good. Like, Zion is game changer, 20 years old. I'm bigger than you. I'm faster than you. I'm stronger than you. Oh, by the way, I got vision too. Yo, Brandon Ingram, yo, fam, we might have to trade you. If this is the case, I got 3 trade destinations for Brandon Ingram, and you are going to be like, when you hear 2 of these, and you don't even watch basketball, but I give you one of them. The first one, if you are the Boston Celtics, that's a guy you trade for. That's a guy that I would be like, you know what? He'd be a great fit with Tatum. You might have to give away Jaylen Brown, which I know they don't want to do, but him and Jason Tatum will be crazy together. That long, lanky 2 wing guys with Kemba at the point. I like Tatum. I like Ingram in Boston. I tell you what, I also like Evan Ingram with my New York Knickerbockers. Brandon Ingram with the Knicks makes sense. Here's why. He's only 24. He just signed his extension. It's 5 years, $158 million. If you're the Knicks, you want a star. Yes, the Knicks want stars. But I don't want a star that's 30 and I got 2 years left on his knees. Give me Brandon Ingram. Let me build with him. And if you're telling me that Brandon Ingram and Julius Randle are the 2 pieces that you use in a summer from now to try to get another guy via trade or anything like that, I think I consider it. And look, he might need a fresh start out of New Orleans, so I think that would be interesting. I think the younger you stay, the better off you are. Second thing or third thing, I don't know why everybody is just assuming that Brooklyn's gonna run away with this thing. Yes, they're good. They're good. But, like, Philly ain't no joke, man. Like, Joel Embiid and the Six, listen, I'm not saying this because I don't like Brooklyn. Now, we all know on this show how I feel about the Brooklyn Nets. But I'm telling you this. If the Sixers can somehow shore up the bench a little bit, get me another shooter in there, the Sixers are in the conversation. Because, to be honest with you, I don't trust Milwaukee. Milwaukee doesn't do it for me. They don't tickle the fancy. Giannis and a bunch of role players like Gladys Knight and the Pips. You know who Gladys Knight is, but the Pips they're backup singers. They don't scare me. They're like, okay, you're cute. And Holiday, okay, you're nice. Pat Connaughton, bro, you play too much. Like, he gets too many touches a game. I was looking at his stats on Second Spectrum. I'm like, this is the bench you're rolling with? Chris Middleton's the only guy that can get himself a shot. I mean, for the love of God, can you get Giannis a second singer? Can you get him a second singer? Can you please? That's another thing, too. Like, that's why the Blake Griffin thing for me, if you're a Net fan, I'm like, so that's the guy you bring in, like him? When you could have waited for Andre Drummond to be available and you would have had a legitimate big to go up against Embiid? I don't know how to feel about this, but I'm telling you, the three main trade targets that I'd be watching if I'm an NBA fan. One, Harrison Barnes. I think Sacramento trades him. I think Harrison Barnes would be a great fit in a couple places, including Dallas. I think he'd be a good fit, in Milwaukee, but Milwaukee don't have the pieces, but I'd love to see it. Denver, because I like Denver. I like the Nuggets. Jokic is like on another level. I'd like to see what the Magic do with Aaron Gordon, because they've been talking about trading Aaron Gordon on and off for 2 seasons now. His athleticism, big dog, to put it in a hockey sense, if he's right, he is the akin to, who can I say? He's dynamic, but he's not consistent, but he's really, really dynamic. Like what's a hockey player that you could give me that you go, yeah, he kind of fits that mold?
So dynamic, and what else?
A little bit inconsistent, though. Doesn't give it to you every night.
That's hard.
But if the guy gets in the right situation, he'd be.
Yeah.
You got anybody that comes to mind for you?
Not off the top of my head, no.
So, I was thinking maybe he's. I don't know if this is like an appropriate fit, but he's almost like. He's like an Anthony Duclair, because I remember when Anthony Duclair first came into the league, a lot of people were, this guy's going to be a superstar.
Yeah. Who? Brock Nelson. And I love Brock Nelson. But he has such a lethal wrist shot. He can forecheck. He can do it. But in terms of scoring, he can sometimes be inconsistent here and there. But
it's like he fades in the background.
And if he doesn't hesitate, because sometimes he has a wide open shot in the slot. He passes like, yo, you got a great shot. Shoot it.
Right.
If the goalie saves it, what are you going to do? At least you shot it. Or if you miss or hit a post, you got to take a chance. And
like I look at Aaron Gordon, I'm like, bro, you can literally jump out the gym. You're freakishly athletic. What are you watching? The out of the game?
Yeah, we almost scored.
You're freakish.
There we go. 1-0.
Were they playing?
What's that?
Were they playing?
New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And speaking of fans, this is the first night in a year the fans are back in the Coliseum. A limited amount. Also, 1,000 healthcare workers are there tonight to watch the game.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. No, but Aaron Gordon's the name. And finally, the third name's not really all that main. Like, it's not a surprise.
Matt Martin with a goal. I was talking about him earlier.
I'm sorry. Oh, hey now.
We were talking about him before.
Nice. And the third guy, he's not really a surprise, but he can help somebody in the right situation, is Victor Oladipo. Now, here, let me give you some things on Victor Oladipo real quick. He was traded from Indiana to Houston in the James Harden trade. He's not all the way back. He had a gruesome leg injury a couple years, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. He's still recovering from it. He's not the same player, but he still can get you 20 a night. And there are teams that like poking around. I know Golden State's poking around. I know Dallas has talked about it internally. The Knicks have talked about it. Victor Oladipo, to me, makes sense for a contender because he's on an expiring contract. If I can get Victor Oladipo to play 25 games on an expiring contract and get him to average 15 points a game, I do it. I don't know where these other teams are. But I do think that he can help somebody. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see Aaron. You know where I'd like to see him go, Victor Oladipo? I'd like to see him go to Milwaukee. Because I think he gives them, a shot in the arm. He gives them that, hey, man, just give me the ball, one-on-one, and I can get my own shot off. where outside of Giannis and Chris Middleton, they have a bunch of setup players. Like nobody else can get their own shot. Where it's like, you can't get your own shot. Yeah. No, Victor Oladipo could definitely help somebody. He could help Philly, but Rafael Stone and Tillman Fertitta like stay away from Daryl Morey. Stay away from that bum. Don't trade him anywhere in Philadelphia because Daryl Morey came from Houston. Now he's with the Sixers. There's a little bit of bad blood.
How are the Sixers doing?
Sixers are the best team in the East. Record-wise, yeah.
What made the Nets get Blake Griffin? I'm curious.
Oh, man. What made the Nets get Blake Griffin? He's another star.
90
recognition. Here's a crazy Blake Griffin stat. You want to hear Blake Griffin stat? He hasn't dunked the ball in 420 games.
Really?
Dunked the basketball.
Shit. Every sport is getting to be so analytical. Like 5 years ago, that would never be a stat.
It is now.
That's nuts. Wow, 120 games. That's such like an obscure but interesting fact.
Yeah, but Blake Griffin's a bum, and I'm gonna say it. I don't mean to be rude to anybody. It's a Blake Griffin, but
just you hate the Nets, so it's.
He doesn't help them though. If you would have got Andre Drummond, I'd have said, "Well, hot damn."
Yeah, Blake Griffin he's old. I mean, like in terms of basketball years.
Think about it. He hasn't dunked the ball in 419 games. Hasn't had
hurt those kneecaps now if he tries. I don't
19 days, excuse me. Yeah, he got knee issues. He got knee issues. 419 days with no dunk. That's the longest streak in the NBA, and the guy used to live above the rim.
Yeah, how tall is he?
About like 6'8", 6'9". I still remember when he jumped over the car.
Yeah.
Can't do that now.
Kneecap?
Knees are like, that'll hoit too much. And that's why that's why I'm like, I kind of don't want Zion to go through the same thing. Like Zion, stay below the rip. Like, preserve your knees, bro. Like, fam, look at Blake Griffin as the example of what you don't do when you want to preserve your kneecaps. That's
Oh.
Or should I say preserve?
Oh. You're barely looking slower than molasses out there.
Oh,
another guy with kneecap problems. 90.
Anyway, brother, take us home, man. This is fun.
We will be back at Better Than Ever on Monday. All right. Enjoy the sports. Got a lot of good games this weekend.
Prediction before we go off the air.
Oh, okay.
I got a football one for you. Juju Smith-Schuster signs with the New York Jets as a free agent.
Is that a prediction?
Yep.
God, I hope not.
Juju Smith-Schuster signs with the New York Jets as a free agent. And Cam Newton is a member of the Washington football team.
That, I think, makes sense.
Juan Rivera there. Oh, man, yeah.
I really don't want Juju, but knowing, because I said I don't want it to happen, it's going to happen.
I mean, if they get to keep Sam, then maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but that, I'm not getting into it now.
Then he's going to start dancing on the field.
Oh, more that's great. Dance on other teams' logo. Yeah, keep doing it. It's all right. And then you're going to get lit up across the middle. You're listening for it. You're asking for it when you do that type of stuff.
Hey, his movements. You remind me of Silvio.
Good. Dance on other team logos. Keep disrespecting them. Do it. That's all right.
Yeah.
Watch what happens. First game of the year. Dances on, I don't know. Throw it out there.
New England.
Yeah. Gets lit up and is out for the year. Or like 4 or 5 weeks.
Although him and Denzel Mims, that's not bad.
No, that is good. But
Alshon Jeffries also
stop dancing on other teams' logos, I'll take him. But if he's gonna keep acting like that,
I mean, well,
like we got a coach already saying we're gonna win championships. We got,
you must be thrilled with that.
of course.
All right,
but I can't. I don't feel like doing that.
All right.
I've ranted enough about that team. Honestly, too, man, every day I see on Get Up or whatever ESPN friggin' show, what are they going to do? What's Sam going to do? What's the Jets going to do? Stop already. Stop it. Wait till the draft. Greeny, I love you. I know you're a diehard Jet fan, but you're going to drive yourself to drink if you keep doing that on your show. Stop talking Jets for like a month. What do we got? A month left, maybe a little more to the draft?
50 days. 50 days.
Oh, my God.
Maroon.
I can't no more with this team. I can't. Oh, we're going to draft Zach Wilson. But he's kind of like another Donald or oh, my God. But Donald does have upside, but we didn't see it yet. It's like, holy just stop. Whatever happens, happens. That's my attitude. I'm sorry. I know people want my opinion. I'm a Jet fan. I mean, I have given it in the past, but I'm done with that. Until after the draft, I'm saying it now. No Jet questions, because all I'm going to say is we will see what happens on draft night. And I'm going to leave it there because you know what? I don't know anymore with this team. I don't know. Because you can either keep Sam or not. Do you want to just keep him and try and add around him, or do you want to draft a guy who's exactly the same that we really don't know nothing about? 2 Norton Islanders. Let's go. But yeah, the Jets, I'm done. I'm done with the Jets. Done. Until draft night, I don't want to hear about them. Oh, my God. You see what it happens with the – oh, my God. What a shot.
Hey, buddy, I love you. Be good.
I love you, man. No, but really, just quickly before we go, I know you're not a Jet fan. You got no emotional attachment to them, or you just like seeing me go nuts, which is fine. I'm glad I make you laugh and everybody laugh. But in all seriousness,
first of all, it's not good for your heart. That really isn't good for your heart.
Yeah, then I already got a heart condition already.
Hey, knock on wood.
Oh, wait. Knock on my floor. There we go. The wood. No, but it's a lot. No, and we don't like.
It's nobody knows anything at this point.
That's the biggest thing. So it's whatever happens, like.
First of all, the draft is just based on conjecture and projections. That nobody really knows anything. So as much as we really want to say, hey, this could be it, this could work, that could work, do we really know what works and what doesn't work? No. Zach Wilson is an unproven commodity. Do you want to stick with Sam and give him another year? honestly, that's the best bet to me.
You might as well, because what's the point of drafting another guy? Oh, the next name it. Here we go with the next name it. And then what happens? He's going to suck. So you might as well just stick with Sam, because I can't take this anymore. I can't take this garbage. Just stick with him. Because you already went through that with him. The next name it. Alan Ha. Oh, my God. We can't wait for you to win for us. And oh, my God. You should just get, instead of Goodell giving him a hat, you should give him a fur coat. Here's all the pressure, all the weight of the fan base. Here you go. Because that's what you gave to the kid. Now, what, you're going to do that to somebody else? Oh, I think I'm done. For now, watch someone brings up something Jets next show and I'm going to flip out. Flip out. Love you. See you. Talk to you in a few.